Okay, so have you ever found yourself, like, stuck, mentally replaying something?
Oh, definitely.
Like that really awkward thing you said, maybe last week, or even stressing about, I don't know, a trip that's months away?
Absolutely. It's like our minds have this built-in time machine. Right?
Yeah. And it hardly ever seems to just stop right here in the present.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, our brains are wired to analyze the past, plan for the future. It's, a survival thing.
Sure, survival.
But yeah, that same ability can sometimes trap us, pull us away from what's actually happening now.
Which brings us to, well, something that sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? The power of the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
We hear it all the time. But for this deep dive, we really want to dig into it. Like, what does it really mean? Why is it so darn hard sometimes?
Yeah, and how can we actually, do it practically?
Exactly. So settle in with us. Let's explore this.
Because it is true, isn't it? People say just be present, but how? It feels like trying to catch smoke. What does that even look like when you're, say, in the middle of a crazy busy day? And why does the mind seem to fight staying put?
Exactly. It's like the default setting, for my brain anyway, is just wander. I catch myself all the time thinking, oh, I'll be happy when.
The when.
Yeah, when I finish this project, or when I hit that goal, or when things just finally calm down. It's this constant chase, chasing something in the future.
That's a really, really common experience.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost like conditioned to think contentment is just over the horizon, tied to some external thing.
Right.
But this whole idea of living in the present, it kind of flips that script.
Yeah.
It suggests that well-being isn't some destination way off in the distance.
Okay.
It's actually accessible right now in this moment. The trick is learning how to tune into it.
Okay, so tuning in. How do we even start? Because honestly, just telling myself focus usually backfires. My thoughts just seem to get louder.
Yeah, that can happen. Often, the first step is about cultivating something called mindfulness.
Mindfulness. Heard of it.
Right. And it's not about reaching some, permanent state of empty bliss or anything. It's more about paying attention on purpose to this moment. But, and this is key, without judgment.
Without judgment. Okay. So noticing what's going on around me, like sights, sounds, but also checking in internally. My thoughts, feelings, even like little aches and pains we usually ignore.
Precisely. Think of it like training a muscle. You're training your attention.
Okay.
So just like you might consciously follow your breath if you're sitting quietly.
Yeah.
You can bring that same kind of focused awareness to basically any part of your day. Noticing your feet on the floor, maybe the warmth of your mug, the little things.
Subtle sounds around you, just noticing.
You mentioned breath, and that's actually something I have found helpful in small doses anyway.
Okay.
Like when I feel totally overwhelmed and I actually remember to just take a deep breath, it does seem to kind of bring me down a notch. Is that presence? It absolutely is. That's a perfect example. When you deliberately focus on your breath, the inhale, the exhale, you're anchoring yourself right here, right now. Your breath is, well, it's always with you, isn't it? Always happening now.
True.
It's like this portable tool you can whip out anytime your mind starts drifting off on some tangent.
A portable anchor. I like that. It makes sense. It's always there. But what about those really sticky thoughts, especially about the past, something that's really bothering me? Those can feel impossible to just shake off.
Yeah, dwelling on the past, that's a big one, a major hurdle. We get caught in these loops, right? Regret, maybe resentment, sometimes even just like romanticizing how things used to be.
Definitely.
And look, the past obviously shaped us.
Yeah.
Hugely. But it doesn't have to dictate who we are or who we can be in this moment.
So it's not about pretending the past didn't happen.
Not at all.
But more about not letting it be the constant background music to right now.
Exactly that. Acknowledge it, learn from it. If there are lessons, sure. And then gently, gently guide your focus back to now.
Gently.
Okay.
Because holding on to old hurts. Old mistakes. It's like carrying this extra weight, Yeah. It just stops you from fully being here. And it's hard, really hard sometimes, but letting go forgiveness of ourselves too, that can be so powerful for lightening that load.
That really hits home. Like carrying a backpack full of rocks mentally. Why do that when you could just move more freely?
Right.
Okay, so flipping that coin, the future, the endless to-do lists, the worrying about stuff that might not even happen. How does being present help with that kind of anxiety?
Well, when our minds are constantly jumping ahead, projecting into the future.
Which mine does. A lot.
Yeah. We tend to miss the beauty, sometimes even the opportunities. They're right here in our current reality. Planning is necessary, of course.
Sure.
But that excessive worry about what might happen, it just drains our mental energy. It distracts us from really engaging with what we're actually doing.
It's like we're living in a constant state of what if instead of actually living the what is that's unfolding right in front of us. Precisely. And interestingly, cultivating presence can actually make us more effective when the future does roll around.
How so?
By being grounded now, we can face challenges later with maybe more clarity, more resilience, instead of being swamped by a million hypothetical worries.
It really feels like our modern world almost actively works against us being present. Our phones are buzzing all the time.
Constantly.
We're just bombarded with information, and multitasking is almost seen as like a good thing, a badge of honor.
That's a really critical point. Those constant stimuli, there are significant barriers. Our attention just gets shattered, pulled everywhere.
Fragmented. Yeah.
And this is where intentionally choosing to disconnect, even for short periods, can be so incredibly valuable.
So like deliberately making time, putting the phone away, silencing notifications, just being with ourselves or just what's immediately around us, even for a few minutes.
Exactly. Even really short bursts can make a difference.
Yeah.
A walk without headphones, maybe. Actually savoring a meal without staring at a screen. Or just sitting quietly, noticing thoughts without getting tangled up in them. These things help us reclaim our focus, reconnect.
It's almost counterintuitive, isn't it? We think being constantly plugged in makes us more productive or something.
Right. More informed.
Yeah. But it might actually be undermining our ability to truly experience life as it's happening.
Well, there's more and more evidence suggesting that focusing on one thing at a time, single tasking.
The opposite of multitasking.
Exactly. It leads to higher quality work, yes, but also a greater sense of satisfaction. When you're fully present with whatever you're doing, you're not only more likely to do it well, but you might actually find more, dare I say, enjoyment in the process itself.
That makes so much sense. When I try to juggle too much, I just end up feeling completely frazzled. And probably not doing any of those things particularly well.
It happens to all of us.
So it's about bringing that focused attention to whatever it is. A big project, sure, but also just like a conversation with a friend or even just enjoying a quiet moment.
Absolutely. And another really powerful practice for grounding ourselves right here is cultivating gratitude.
Gratitude. Okay, how does that connect specifically to being present?
Well, when we consciously, deliberately take time to appreciate what we have right now, in this moment, we naturally shift our attention away from what we feel is lacking or what we're chasing in the future. Gratitude anchors us in the here and now. It reminds us of the good that's already here.
I've heard about things like keeping a gratitude journal. Is that like a practical way to build that muscle?
It can be incredibly effective, yes. Regularly reflecting on things you're grateful for, even tiny things.
Like,
the sun shining, a good cup of coffee, a moment of quiet. It trains your mind to notice the positive in your current experience. It's simple, but it can have a really profound effect on your overall well-being and your ability to be present.
So it's a deliberate shift, focusing away from what feels wrong or missing towards what's actually right here.
Precisely. And finally, another really key element here is acceptance.
Acceptance. Accepting things as they are, even when they're not what we want. That sounds like a tough one.
It can be really challenging, absolutely. Yeah. But it's also incredibly freeing. Acceptance doesn't mean we have to like everything or condone it.
Right.
But it does mean acknowledging the reality of this moment without resisting it.
So instead of constantly fighting against what is.
Yeah, that internal battle.
We can try to meet it with more, inner calm, peace.
Exactly. When we resist the present moment, we just create more struggle, more suffering for ourselves, usually. Acceptance allows us to respond more effectively from a place of calm rather than just reacting. It grounds us in the reality of now, which ultimately is the only place we ever have any power to act or make choices.
Wow. Okay. This has given me a lot to think about. It sounds like living in the present isn't some mystical, unattainable state.
Not at all.
But more like a collection of actual, tangible practices, things we can weave into our everyday lives.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's an ongoing process, really. Gently redirecting our awareness back to now.
Yeah.
Again and again. Just noticing when the mind wanders.
Which it will.
Which it absolutely will. And just kindly, gently guiding it back here, now.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, what's the main takeaway you'd want listeners to hold on to? What real difference can trying to embrace the present actually make?
Well, when you put it all together, living more in the present, it really has the potential to significantly deepen our relationships, for one.
How so?
When you're truly present with people, we listen better, right? We connect more authentically.
Sure.
It can foster greater inner peace. Being present with ourselves lets us observe our thoughts, our emotions, without that harsh judgment we talked about. That leads to more self-understanding, more acceptance. Ultimately, it contributes to a more, fulfilling life, a more joyful one, perhaps.
It really does feel like the present moment is the only place where life is actually happening. The past is memory, the future is imagination. All we really truly have is right now, this instant.
That's the fundamental truth of it. And, starting to cultivate this awareness, it doesn't need any grand gestures or anything. No. Consider this, maybe, a simple mindful action. Anyone listening can do it right now, wherever they are. Just take a deep breath.
Okay.
Notice the feeling of the air coming in, going out. Feel the rise and fall. Maybe notice your body where it's making contact with your chair or the floor. This is the present moment. It's always right here, always accessible.
So the present moment isn't just some abstract concept. It's real, tangible, something we can connect with through our senses, our breath, our awareness.
Exactly.
And maybe, just maybe, by embracing it a little more fully, we can actually unwrap the gift of life, one moment at a time,